There's a specific kind of person, and if you've somehow ended up watching this, there's a real chance it's you. They'll drop everything to help a friend through a crisis at 1 in the morning, and then they'll lie awake afterward, quietly convinced that they are fundamentally broken. They pour into other people like the supply is endless, and then they look in the mirror and feel nothing good looking back. Here's the part almost no one says out loud. That is not a coincidence. The kindness and the self-hatred aren't two separate things that just happen to live in the same body. They are the same mechanism, wearing two different masks. So today, let's gently take those masks off and look at what's actually underneath, because if this is you, I think it might change how you see yourself. Let's start where it usually starts, childhood. When a child grows up in a home where love felt conditional, where affection came and went depending on their behavior, or their grades, or just whether the adults were having a good day, that child learns something. They learn that love is not a given, love is something you earn. And they figure out fast that the quickest way to earn it is to become useful, to become indispensable, to be the one who gives, because giving feels so much safer than needing. And over time, that quietly rewires something deep in the nervous system. Giving stops being a choice you make. It becomes almost compulsive. It shifts from, I want to help you, into something closer to, I don't actually know how to exist in a relationship without serving a function. From the outside, it looks completely selfless. From the inside, a lot of the time, it feels like running from something. Psychologists have a name for the self-image these people carry. They call it a negative self-schema. It's a deeply held internal framework where you understand yourself as fundamentally flawed, undeserving, somehow less than everyone else. And here's what's fascinating. That schema doesn't shut off your warmth toward other people. In a lot of cases, it actually cranks it up. Because if you genuinely believe, deep down, that you are not worthy of good things, then the only socially acceptable way to feel like you matter is to make everyone else's life better. So you become the emotional infrastructure for everyone around you. You're the one who remembers the birthdays, who checks in, who notices the second someone goes quiet, and you're genuinely, truly good at it. But underneath all of it, there's a kind of quiet accounting going on. Every act of kindness is secretly being logged as proof that you have value. And when that kindness isn't returned, or isn't even noticed, the balance tips right back toward that old, familiar feeling of worthlessness. Now, there's real research on giving. A 2013 study, led by the researcher Lara Aknin, found that prosocial spending, using your resources on other people instead of yourself, was linked to greater well-being across a whole range of cultures. And that's true, giving really can be good for you. But there's a piece that rarely gets talked about, and it's the motivation underneath the giving. Because giving from a place of security feels completely different in the body than giving from a place of scarcity. One is an open hand, the other is closer to a transaction, one you entered into quietly hoping the other person wouldn't notice how much you needed it. And you can usually feel the difference. Giving from security tends to leave you fuller. Giving from scarcity leaves you a little emptier each time, waiting for a thank you big enough to finally quiet the doubt. Here's something else that tends to be true. People who struggle to like themselves are very often exceptional listeners, and it's worth asking why. Part of it is that someone who spent years believing their own inner world wasn't worth anyone's attention becomes extraordinarily tuned in to the inner worlds of everyone else. They had to be. Reading a room, sensing the smallest shift in someone's mood, knowing what people need before they say a word. We call those skills emotional intelligence, and they genuinely are. But for a lot of people, they first developed as survival skills, ways of managing everyone else's emotions in order to feel safe. And there's something quietly heartbreaking about that, once you actually sit with it. So what does the self-hatred itself look like day to day? Usually, it doesn't announce itself. It runs more like an underground current. It shows up as not being able to take a compliment without instantly deflecting it, as a strange discomfort when someone does something nice for you, as that faint, persistent suspicion that if people ever saw the real you, not the version that shows up and helps and listens and gives, but the actual you, they'd leave. And so you keep giving, because as long as you're useful, there's always a reason for people to stay. Now here's where it gets genuinely complicated. A lot of people who live this way don't even realize they hate themselves, because it doesn't feel like self-hatred. It feels like just being a realist. It feels like humility. It feels like knowing your place. The story in their head isn't, "I hate myself." It's quieter than that. It's, "I'm just not that special," or "I'm harder to love than most people," or "I'd rather focus on everyone else. My own stuff is boring anyway." And the world around them agrees, constantly. We celebrate selflessness. We call it noble. We treat it as an admirable personality trait. So the person who's actually running from their own pain, straight into everyone else's life, gets told over and over how good they are, how giving they are. And those words land in a strange place, because they're exactly what that person is desperate to hear and completely beside the point, both at the same time. Here's the question that tends to crack this whole thing open, and it lines up with what research on schema therapy and attachment keeps pointing to. When do you feel most deserving of love? If you struggle with self-worth, you'll probably say it's when you've done something for someone, when you were helpful, when you fixed the problem, and almost never just because you exist. Almost never just because you showed up and you were there. Think about how strange that actually is. You would never in a million years hold anyone else to that rule. Sit with that gap for a second. That distinction matters more than almost anything else in this entire conversation. There's also a very particular kind of grief that lives inside these people, one that almost never gets named. It's the grief of having been an adult while you were still in a child's body, of carrying emotional weight that was never yours to carry, of learning to suppress your own needs so completely that, by the time you reached adulthood, you honestly can't locate what you want anymore. Ask a person like this what they need, and watch them deflect. Push just a little, and sometimes you'll see something flicker across their face that looks a lot like panic, because needing something opens a door. And the last time that door was open, it didn't go well. Now, I want to be really careful here. I am not saying that people who are kind and also struggle inside are broken, or that their giving is fake, or purely dysfunctional. Human beings are far more layered than any single story allows. Someone can give from a wounded place and a genuine place at the very same time. The warmth is real, the care is real, the love they have for the people in their life is absolutely, completely real. But here's what's also real. They deserve to give that exact same quality of care to themselves, not as a project, not as one more thing to earn, just because they are a person, and that alone is enough. And the shift, when it finally starts to happen, tends to be slow, non-linear, and honestly, uncomfortable in ways that are hard to predict. Because when someone has built their entire relational identity around being the giver, and they start to let themselves receive, start to let themselves actually need, it can feel wrong, it can feel selfish, it can feel like losing a version of yourself that, even if it hurt, at least felt familiar. Recovery from self-hatred almost never looks like waking up one morning suddenly in love with yourself. It looks more like a long, ongoing argument with your own mind. One where, slowly, unevenly, day by day, the voice telling you that you don't deserve good things just starts to lose a little ground. So here's what I really want to leave you with. If you recognized yourself in any of this, and I mean really recognized yourself, not in a vague, yeah, I guess I'm a kind person way, but in an uncomfortably specific, oh, that's me way, then that recognition already means something. Because most people spend their entire lives running from this pattern without ever once noticing that it is a pattern. The fact that you can see it, even partially, even if it stings a little, is the beginning of something genuinely different. You don't have to earn your place in your own story. You were already in it. You always were. If this one landed a little too close to home, stay with us here at Deep Ravines Psychology Lab, where we keep decoding the quiet patterns that shape how we love, give, and heal. Next time, we're going deeper into the hardest skill for people like this, actually letting yourself receive. Why needing feels so dangerous, and the small, doable ways you can start practicing it without the guilt. Until then, take care of your mind,